Yo, what is up, you guys? My name is Version1, and welcome back to Reaction Time Installment 35. Episode 3 is now coming at you hard and heavy. It's almost 4th of July, which is almost Independence Day, which means we're going to be shooting off fireworks and having a bunch of fun. Well, I won't be shooting off fireworks. Forgot to buy some. But, we are going to be having some fun with some cool videos. This one I found on my own. This isn't a subscriber recommendation. This is 10 in-game items that took too long to unlock without money. It basically goes on the whole premise of free games versus free games that you pay for. You know, you pay to play, you pay to get cool stuff, or you unlock on your own. And it's usually easier to pay, which is why a lot of people with a lot of money can get further faster than poor people can't. It has to do the grind. Some games such as Destiny and stuff like that, which don't do that, their entire stuff only works on customization, skins, and stuff like that for the guns. But there are some games out there where you literally pay bukus and bukus of money to get either gems or... I'm talking about a lot of freemium games and stuff like that, mainly. But we're going to jump around this because this is a 13-minute long video, so I'm going to quit dick-diddling around and get to the video. So, without further ado, here we go.
The best video game items often are earned after quite a big and sometimes ridiculous grind. Or, unfortunately, because it's 2021, there are items and things where you can just skip the grind and pay real-world hard-earned dollars for it. And we wanted to highlight those today. We got 10, so let's get started. First, we're going to talk about Apex Legends and the R99 SMG Revolutionary skin.
Apex
this is actually all connected to Apex Legends infamous Season 7. This was a battle pass when first launched. The biggest thing, the thing that a lot of people were gunning for, was reaching level 110 and getting that sick revolutionary skin. The problem was, at launch with that battle pass, it was way too grindy for most players. For example, thanks to a great breakdown by user Lucy Goosey on Reddit, in past seasons, respawning 5 squad mates was 1 battle pass level. Now, respawning 15 squad mates is just 2 stars. 40 knockdowns is technically 2 stars. You have to win 5 games to get 5 stars, which is only half a battle point level. It takes 10,000 XP to get 1 star, so 100,000 XP for 1 Battle Pass level. Previously, the Battle Pass XP tracks were much easier, and one of the kind of good gimme weekly challenges that were pretty easy to knock off in previous Battle Passes seasons were just not here. So it seemed like Respawn and Apex Legends realized that they pushed it a little bit too far. They said that they were trying to make it engaging for the entire length of the season, and they wanted you to try out new legends and playstyles, but that they missed the mark, and they changed it pretty quickly, with XP required per star going from 10,000 down to 5,000. And then they updated the weekly challenges to take much less time to complete, meaning more people could get access to that level 110 and get that revolutionary skin. Was it worth it? I don't know. Games as a service are always gonna games as a service, but when they push it too far, people get pissed off. And this is a good example of that. But over at number 9, let's talk about a single player game, Shadow of War. The second Middle-earth game, following up Shadow of Mordor, was notorious at launch for having a lot of microtransactions and loot box type stuff. But the biggest thing was the fact that you kind of had to grind to get the true ending. So originally, the ending and like this cool unique armor set that you would get for getting it was gated behind the Shadow Wars, which was like this kind of end game grinding mode that forced you to either get loot boxes with stronger orcs or just grind a ton to survive the frustrating and overlong section of the game where you just kind of have to constantly defend your strongholds, especially considering the invasions would get pretty powerful and it would get pretty intense. It would take hours on top of hours to finish, and it would be even worse if you didn't spend real cash on the loot boxes to get the way cooler, more powerful orcs. And people were pissed, and rightfully so. That was ballsy of them to try and make it so like the way you would experience the final act of Shadow of War was not really through playing the game, it was just through this weird grinding and maybe considering buying some loot boxes type of thing that the game would push you towards. Thankfully, oh my god, thank goodness, Monolith eventually went back and changed this and got rid of all of that stuff and completely retooled the game. And I will say, now looking at the game in 2021 and revisiting it, just now that the game is cleaned up and there's less focus on any of that stuff and you could just focus on the meat there, it is still absolutely just a core Shadow of blank type game, really worth experiencing. And we hope that they learned their lesson, and we're really hoping that they make another one of these games because these are still pretty sweet. Next over at number 8, let's talk Black Desert Online, a very fun MMORPG, but there's a big debate about the game and whether or not it's pay to win. Now, we're not going to dive into it too deeply and debate it one way or the other because while we do enjoy the game, we enjoy it kind of casually. We're not experts on it. We're not going to lie to you guys. A forum user who broke this down pretty intelligently, we'll link them down in the description, explained that basically the average person takes 2.5 years to hit soft cap compared to the average time of less than 6 months for a whale to hit soft cap, or somebody who's willing to plunk down a good chunk of cash into this game. But considering the style of game, some folks really may just enjoy that grind, but we also want to highlight the highest priced items sold. Now, things change all the time in MMOs, economies are tweaked, but throughout the last few years, especially after launch, Black Desert Online was known for its grind. The grind people refer to as more about killing mobs to grind experience points more than anything, and also maybe grinding some gear, which does lead to the most expensive thing in the game. It's hard to pin down in MMORPGs. It fluctuates, but we've seen items sell for billions of silver. Yes, billions with a B. A few years back, we saw a TET Ogre Ring sell for over 7 billion silver, but check the BD database and you'll see stuff going for millions and millions all the time, like the Rich Merchant's Ring. Actually, it seems like a lot of the most expensive stuff is rings, which are useful, so it makes sense. Not an egregious example on our list by any means. A lot of people sign up for this type of stuff, but yeah, it's still worth mentioning. Next over at number 7, let's talk Korra parts in Warframe. So Korra was essentially a pretty sick-ass Warframe that you could work towards. She's incredibly badass looking. She was a very much sought-after suit from what we've seen out there, and you had to grind for those parts to be able to get this Warframe. You could, of course, also buy your way into it, but the grind was pretty intense. A lot of people have issues with the Warframe grinds. Some of them can be pretty tough, and I think, honestly, if you ask everybody, they might have a different one, but from what we've seen in some forums, overwhelmingly, a lot of people say Korra is one of the top ones that took a lot of grinding. We've seen some players cite 243 runs at 8 waves each. You live and die by the RNG in these games, and it seems like Korra, Equinox are just a big pain in the ass to work towards. But maybe it's worth it, especially if you get it without putting a dime into the game. Next over at number 6, if we're talking about grinding for stuff in games, we're going to talk Grand Theft Auto Online.
Grand Theft Auto Online,
We want to highlight specifically the Buckingham Luxor Deluxe. This is a golden private jet, one of the super sleek, nice looking ones. It's from Elitas Travel, and it cost 10 million bucks in the game. Just for perspective, the most expensive property, the Aquarius yacht, cost $8 million. This cost more than an underground bunker or an entire office building. Now, grinding heists can get you around 400k an hour, so the price isn't too unreasonable, but heists require up to 4 players who know what they're doing. Playing solo makes grinding a lot more time-consuming, and there's been lots of debates throughout.
I'm a big solo player in games like that and stuff like that because I don't have a lot of friends online. And those I do, I don't really play with as much anymore. My brother hardly ever plays. I don't play with KZFH Gaming anymore for personal reasons. I'm still his friend whether he likes it or not. And I might say something that'll hurt his feelings, but I'm one of those friends that will tell you straight up blunt to your face if you're doing something stupid. So, he knows that, and that's why he tries to avoid me. So,
the years about how grindy Grand Theft Auto Online is. It's had its ups and downs, but we just wanted to point out one item in particular, and it's this crazy, ridiculous, expensive jet. Is it worth it? Next at number 5, we were going to mention it, Star Wars Battlefront 2. This has become a much better game. We just want to say that up front. We revisited it, and once the microtransactions and loot box stuff were completely fixed, it's a fun, competent Star Wars FPS. But man, in the beginning, it was a complete disaster, and we think it was something that needed to happen in the video game industry. Like, they had to push it this far, and it had to become a controversy and get more eyeballs on it, because it's important. Because people estimated when Battlefront 2 first launched that it would take like 40 hours of grinding just to be able to get the ability to play as Darth Vader. People on Reddit did the math, and the way it worked was that the most expensive characters in the game that were locked would be Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. at 60,000 credits. To earn 60,000 credits just through playing, it would take roughly 40 hours. And that would be just to buy one of the single cool heroes in the game. With other characters like I think Princess Leia and Chewbacca being at 40,000 credits. You couldn't buy credits with real world money, but you could buy crystals, and then you could do the loot box thing and then convert those loot boxes and essentially launder money in order to kind of buy your way towards these heroes. And people really didn't like it, and it was a whole big mess with EA and DICE trying to defend it. EA said, and I quote, "The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes." A grind is one thing, and we've highlighted them in this video in certain instances where some games it just takes a long ass time to get something cool. Sometimes you have the option to buy your way in, especially if it's cosmetic, but when it comes to like manipulative loot box gross practices, that's where it's the worst, and that's where it should be called out. And it was here, and thankfully it was fixed, but still. Next over at number 4, you know we were going to mention CSGO. Since it became a thing, the virtual economy for this game has absolutely exploded.
CSGO?
You've probably heard all about it, all the controversies and everything. People go absolutely crazy for skins and pay top dollar for the ones that have the rarest drop rates. Now this always changes. The market is very volatile, but as of right now, according to esports.com, some of the most expensive weapon skins right now are the Souvenir Dragon Lore at Factory New, coming in for around $26,000. The StatTrak M9 Bayonet Crimson Web Factory New for almost $10,000. And of course, a Karambit, a Factory New Crimson one, coming in at $9,000. We've also personally seen the Skeleton Knife go for a ton. We don't have exact numbers right now, but it's extremely rare, on top of the extremely low chances of getting a shattered web case that it comes in. And of course, like I said, describing the other weapons, the fact that these come in different rates. You know, you have field tested, and of course Factory New being the one that people want, the most valuable one typically. It just gets really complex and insane, and there's a lot of money in it. It's a whole different world. We don't want to get too deep into it and mess up any facts, but yeah, CSGO is no joke. Down to number 3, let's take a trip down memory lane.
CS, Counter-Strike,
Party Hat from RuneScape. This thing showed up way back in like 2001. This is a really, really old in-game item that was coveted by players. It was extremely rare, even though it was just this little blue pointy hat.
I've never played RuneScape. I know several people who have and have talked about this, and I was like, oh my god.
That your character had, and along with the red party hat, this item was the first to pass the 1 billion price mark on the Grand Exchange. That happened in March of 2011. So the way it works, RuneScape Gold, $1 is about 2 million, and the price of the party hat got as high as 23 billion. Yes, for a dinky little hat for your RuneScape character. But RuneScape, like a lot of other massively multiplayer games with loot and items, sometimes the coolest stuff is the hardest to get, and if there's an opportunity to buy your way into it, someone always will. It's not good, but it happens. Also, just shout out to RuneScape for a second. It's just still going strong, probably for as long as I've almost been alive. We should make more RuneScape videos. Anyway, next at number 2, let's talk about the Pink Courier War Dog from Dota 2. Now, of course, MOBAs generate a lot of money. They have marketplaces. People want the randomized drops, and they'll pay up to get the good shit so they don't have to grind. And a courier is an in-game thing that's not your character, but it brings you items in battle, and the Pink Courier War Dog went for a ton just because it was an extremely rare combination of things. It's pink, it's a dog, people love it, and people wanted it, and they came out in droves. According to Engadget, a pink War Dog Courier sold for $38,000 US.
Jesus!
Yes, that is real. I don't know what else there is to say about that other than holy hell. Now at number 1, we got one more for you, and that is from EVE Online. Let's talk about the Gold Magnate. This is a ship that you can get in the game. It's like a royal type ship, and it's considered...
Why does that look like Boba Fett's ship in Star Wars?
A work of art itself that took a long time to make, and it sold for 1 million plex, or roughly $32,500. What is nice is that this money went to benefit the Australian wildfire relief from 2020, and it was purchased by YouTuber Scott Manley. Now, just the context here, these days it's pretty tough to grind out enough plex to afford the monthly subscription price. People literally say you have to grind for 16 hours straight every day for a month if you're just trying to get plex from playing the game without using the market. It's theoretically possible, but that's it. Now, if you want to earn it without paying the crazy prices, it is very rarely given out as a first place prize for the Armor Championship, with only 2 known to still exist. So one went for a massive amount of money and an incredible sale, but at least it went to a good cause, and we thought it was worth highlighting here at the end. But those are some crazy expensive items that can be bought for a ton of money or a bunch of grinding. We kind of flip-flop back and forth, but we want to hear from you in the comments. If you have any other examples, something that you grinded for, that you hated or really loved earning, or something that, you know, come clean and admit that you paid money for. You shouldn't, but if you did, hey, it's okay.
Oh my god. I'll admit, I've used microtransactions several times in games. I've bought some skins on Destiny that I've paid real money for. I'm not proud of it, but they look cool and I didn't want to grind for it, or I missed an opportunity to grind for it and it was still for sale, so I said, fuck it, whatever, it's only like $5 IRL, I'll go ahead and pay for it. So I did. Like I said, I'm not proud of it, but I did. There's a few things I've done that with. I've never done that with weapon skins because in Destiny 2, if a lot of you guys haven't played it, it's pretty much meant for you to cycle through weapons. You end up losing. But that is going to do it for this episode of Reaction Time, you guys. This episode's drawn on past the 13-minute mark that this video originally was. But that was pretty cool. That was some really cool, interesting deals, 10 in-game items that took too long to either unlock without money. But of course, that does go on to a lot of deals. Like some games are out there that do that. They reward people for playing, you know, for buying stuff. It makes you stronger, so you beat people that are playing for free. I've seen a lot of games do that, and it's like some people take it way too seriously, and I just take it as like, it's a freaking video game. Just play it to have fun. You don't have to outdo somebody just because you have money. But, you know, like I say, some of the stuff probably got edited out and some of the stuff probably stayed in. But still, it's going to be tons of fun to do that. But that was really cool. I'm going to go into this episode here. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to hit the thumbs up button. I always greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You can always hit the subscription button and notification bell. It's all completely free to do. If you thought this video was pretty cool, you can always go back and check out a lot of my backlog stuff. It's probably over there somewhere, or it's in the recommended or something like that. I don't know. But go check out some of my previous stuff. Some of it is really cringy, so I do apologize for a lot of that. Some of my early stuff has really crap audio and, you know, stuff like that. But again, I keep all that on there to show the progression of this channel as it's going through times. But we are over 900 subs now, so that's amazing. We're almost to the 1,000 milestone mark, and that's going to be amazing when that hits. I can finally start trying to do this full time, and we can see how that rolls out. So the sooner I can do this full time, the sooner you guys get better videos, sooner you guys get some scripted videos, and I can start doing skits and character ideas and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So I'm excited for all that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Hey, and peace out. What's up?